Hello, I'm Nikki Schiller. The first of the 14 victims from yesterday's mass shooting in the Czech Republic has been identified in the past hour. Czech authorities confirmed the head of the Institute of Musicology at Charles University, Lenka Halvalka, was one of those shot dead. The Czech Interior Ministry added that 3 people injured are foreign citizens, 1 from the Netherlands and 2 from the United Arab Emirates. All those killed were Czech nationals. The shooting happened in the heart of Prague as the gunman opened fire at Charles University's Faculty of Arts in the Old Town, which is a major tourist attraction. Some staff and students locked themselves inside classrooms. Others climbed onto rooftops and window ledges, as you can see, to escape the gunfire. Police said the gunman took his own life following the attack. He's been named by local media as 24-year-old student David Kozak. A member of Prague police described the response to the incident using video recorded by officers' body cameras.
This classroom was impacted the most by the attack. We're doing triage, so sorting the injured to make sure that those who need it the most receive help first. Here you can see that the guys started doing first aid immediately, most importantly trying to stop the bleeding. You need to stabilize the people to be able to take them outside to the ambulance. So, from the camera, you can see what the policemen are doing and how they're coordinating their activities. Another team tried to get the building under control to make sure that people can be transported and evacuated.
Well, as part of that news conference in the last hour, Prague's chief police officer gave his reaction to the shooting.
I was there on site. I was severely impacted by it. I was shattered to see it, and I've been with the police force for 40 years. Around 220, 230 policemen took part, hundreds of policemen. There was a regular car and a police car also impacted by bullets, but there are no injured policemen in relation to the shooting. I said that the police used guns against the perpetrator. They fired back at him from the ground when he was on the balcony. And again, people could criticize us and say that we should have done it earlier, but you have to realize that it was an active situation, that there were many buildings around, people were watching the situation as it unfolded, and it would have been most unfortunate if the police used a gun and there was an accident and somebody else died or was injured.
So the police defending their actions yesterday. Let's go live now to Michal Tomesh, a staff writer at Deník newspaper in Prague. Thank you very much for joining us again. I know you've listened to that news conference as well from the police. A lot of detail, but they confirmed that the gunman took his own life as they surrounded him on the balcony.
Yes, that's one of the information that was said on a press conference that is still ongoing, is that the attacker killed himself, and it was in the situation when he walked outside of the building on the balcony. The police was already on the street, and there was a little bit of shootout, police trying to shoot up to the building. But you know, the first policemen on the scene were the policemen with the shotguns, with the pistols. Lately arrived the policemen with the longer weapons, and also police said that the shooter injured 3 people on the street in Prague yesterday.
Now, they also talked about an earlier incident on the 15th of December where 2 people were found dead in a forest, and they are linking the suspect in yesterday's case with that double murder as well, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. Police mentioned that possibility yesterday And as you mentioned, on 15th of December, unknown person killed a man and a 2-month-old baby in a forest near Prague. And after they searched the house of the attacker yesterday, they found out that there may be connection, even though the house of the attacker is on the opposite side of the Prague, and he probably didn't have any connection, any relatives in the area where he killed last week.
So I mentioned that the police sounded very defensive. Are they facing criticism there in Prague about how they handled both that operation in the forest and what happened yesterday?
Yes. After the event in the forest, there was a 5-day search action. They didn't find any traces of a killer, any traces that they could use immediately and find the killer. The police officer now said that they would need a few more days to connect the people, the killer of the murder on Friday. And yes, as you mentioned, police is now defending themselves. On the press conference, they published a very detailed timeline of what happened yesterday and how police officers reacted on the first calls. The first call that started or the operation was a call from a friend of the attacker, and the attacker possibly mentioned that he wants to kill himself and that he is going to Prague. And police found out that they should probably do some search. They started to search him, but the main search event, main evacuation, occurred in a different building than the building the attacker entered and then killed 14 people.
Okay, Michal Tomish from Denek newspaper in Prague, thank you very much for joining us on BBC News.